Hi guys, welcome back to the Taco Cave. Today we're going to be talking about how you repair tip-top guides at home. The last few weeks, I've got a lot of friends asking me to repair the tip-top guides. A lot of people around break them because of abuse, like stepping on the guides themselves or anything else like that. So there are actually two types of these tip-top guides. One like this, which is like the Fuji MN style. It actually has a little, guide foot here that's actually secured with thread. The other type like this, which is the normal type of tip top, it's just a tube like that, and the rod just goes inside and you just glue it together. There sometimes is thread on it, but it's more for decorative purposes. Some of them don't even use thread to secure it, such as this one here. I think it's from Megabase or something. It's just glued on and the thread is just put on as a decoration. So I'm going to show you how to replace both styles of them. So a few definitions first. This is called a tip top guide. It's any guide that actually fits on the top of the rod. This is called a tube, where the part that the rod goes inside. Then we have this, the metal part that goes around, if you can see. That's called the guide frame, and inside is the ring. Another thing, let's just say this is the other way around, and that's your tip of the rod. This is called the rod tip, and you'll need to get the diameter for this, and you'll need to find the correct tube size to fit inside, like that. Obviously you can see this is a bit too big. You can even fit this thing inside. One more thing when we're talking about tip tops, if you can notice, this tip top is similar to this one over here. It doesn't have any frame or anything like that that will actually allow the thread to be binded on. So this is actually secured by glue. This one here, like Fuji's MN style, is actually secured by thread on this little foot here, like that. And you actually need to remove the thread before you can actually get to the guide. But this is also glued as well as threaded. So guys, before we begin, I'm just going to show you some tools that you might need to do this. A lighter, hot melt glue. This can be bought in most hardware shops, a bag of it's like $5 or less. Razor blade, optionally, vernier calipers to measure sizes. First things first guys, I'm going to show you this one that doesn't have a binded guide foot over here. It's just going to be removed. So some makers, they actually use hot melt glue. Some other makers, they use epoxy. Those with epoxy are really hard to come out. So guys, when you heat this up, the heat is actually going to be from your lighter, and it's going to go through your tip top into your rod blank. So sometimes it's really stubborn. You should really do it very carefully and very slowly, because when you heat the tube top, the heat can actually transfer into the blank and actually damage the blank, and this part here will actually break off. So be really careful when you do this, and do it very slowly. Heat it very incrementally. So guys, what you want to do is just heat it with the lighter very slowly like that. Don't heat it too much. Twist it and it'll come off like that. Next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to know what the ring size is. So rings are normally measured by the outer diameter, so like that of the ring. So this, I guess, is about a size 6 ring. Okay, so I need a size 6 top ring, and for my tip, I need something that looks like maybe a 1.5 or a 1.6 millimeter to fit this. It should always be bigger than what the diameter of this is. So if it's a 1.44, I'll get a 1.5 or a 1.6. I need to let some gap in so the glue can still fit inside. So I'm just going to check these tip tops like that. 178, that's a bit too big. Nope. So something like that, a 165 might work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat my hot melt glue like that with a lighter. Just turn it, make sure it doesn't drip off or anything like that. So once it's a bit like liquidy, I'm just going to hold it in my hand and turn the rod like that inside, so it just gums it up. If you guys can see, the hot melt glue is actually on that rod right now. So it doesn't matter if it solidifies or anything, you need some time to work it anyway. So this is actually not the correct size. I think this is a size 4 and I'm actually replacing for a size 6. But this is just a demonstration. So if you're going to the shops, you will need to find a size 6 rather than a size 4. So this is the closest tube I can find to actually fit inside here. So let's just say this hardened already because it's a hot melt glue, I'm just going to heat it up a little bit like that. So just make sure it's a bit liquidy. Put it on my tip like that and twist it as I slide it on. Once it reaches the end, I'm just going to make sure it's aligned with all the guides. Hold it there if I need to. I can run this under cold water so it actually cools a lot faster. Okay guys, now it's kind of cool. You can see there's this little edge of plastic hot melt glue around it. Just gonna use my finger and peel it off like that. And yeah, basically your tip guide is repaired. It's not gonna be very easy to pull off. I'm gonna try to pull it off. It's not actually very easy to pull off, as you can see. So actually the glue is strong enough to hold your tip-top guide already. You can actually bind it with thread if you want to, but you know, you need a lot more things like a thread, a bobbin, thread epoxy, a dryer and stuff like that. So just clean off that plastic and you're actually ready to go like that. Just make sure your sizes are all, you know, matching. So if that's like a 6 here, this will also be a 6. The next one I'm going to show you is the MN tip. So it's actually a tip that has that little foot here that actually you need to cut off before you can actually begin. So for this type of thing, when you need to cut it, you probably need a razor blade. Always cut away from you rather than towards you. Can't tell you how many times I've cut myself using force going like that. Yeah, so be really careful when you do this. Always cut away from you. Just cut off the thread like that. You can heat it up if you want, just to loosen the epoxy, but you don't really have to. So I'm just cutting like that. Be careful if your blank is really thin. It's actually an old rod, so I don't really care. Just cut it and you can expose that, you know, metal piece over there. You can see it. So just need to cut off the rest. As long as that guide foot here is exposed, I'm pretty good to actually take this off. I can heat it up now. Hopefully it'll come out on this try. Still a bit tight. And you just pull it off like that. Really hot, so be careful. But you can see I've got that off. I can just start removing all the epoxy here and thread. Just rip it off with my fingers. You can use your razor blade again, take off that thread. Be really careful not to cut your blank though. So once we've taken out the tip-top guide, you know, remove the guide foot, taken off all the other epoxy here, you can use your fingers, you can use a razor blade, and you again have to match, like, you know, the size of the ring and the tube top. Always measure from the outer diameter. This is also about a 6, I think. So it's a 2.1 millimeter. What is this one? 2.9, 2.11. This might just fit. It's a bit tight, but it just fits like that. I don't really have to replace it again with the same one if I don't have any thread or, you know, thread epoxy to actually cover it. You can just remove all that epoxy there, just clean it off, and do the same thing as before. Take your lighter and your hot melt glue, put it in, roll the rod a bit inside, make sure there's glue sticking to it. Heat it up with the lighter again, like that, really quickly, don't overheat it. Put your tip-top guide in, slowly twist it, and let it settle. And just, you know, align it with your guides, hold it there in position. If it cools and it's not in position with your guides, you can just heat it up really quickly and then adjust it again. Okay guys, so I've actually let this cool down. If you can see, the guide is actually on this side and the tip is actually facing the other direction. So if I had it cool like this and I can't turn it anymore because it's already glued, just gonna take the lighter, go like that a little bit, make sure it's heated up, and I'll be able to twist it and align it again and just hold it so it cools down in the right position. Don't overheat this because you can damage your blanks. Be really careful about how much heat you use. And it's actually done. This is actually the end of the video. I hope you learned something today. If you like this content, please don't forget to like and subscribe.